Hello and welcome to Ladies and Gentlemen. Let me tell you something that most people overlook. Consistency beats intensity. We live in a world that glorifies overnight success and viral moments, but that's not where greatness is built. It's built in the quiet, everyday grind that nobody sees. When I say work harder than everyone else, I'm not just talking about staying up all night once in a while or grinding for a week and then burning out. I'm talking about showing up every single day and doing the work even when you don't feel like it. Especially when you don't feel like it. It's easy to go all in when you're motivated. Anybody can work hard when the sun is shining, when the mood is right, when the music's blasting and everything feels good. That's not hard. What's hard is showing up on a rainy Monday when you're tired, your phone is blowing up with distractions and nothing about the day feels inspiring, and still giving it your all. That's consistency. And that's where the real gap starts to form between people who talk about it and people who live it. When you consistently show up, you're not just building skills, you're building trust in yourself. You begin to develop this inner belief that says, I may not be the most talented, I may not have all the advantages, but I will outlast you. I will outwork you. And that mindset right there, that's unstoppable. See, I know people who have raw talent, incredible ability, and they'll even tell you they're going to crush it, but they don't do the work every day. They show up when it's convenient, when they're in the mood. That's not sustainable. What separates the great from the good is not one big moment of brilliance. It's thousands of small moments that no one else even knows about. It's waking up early to get a head start. It's staying late to finish what you started. It's doing the extra rep, reading one more page, making one more call, and doing it again tomorrow. If you're waiting for motivation to get started, you're already behind. Motivation fades, discipline stays. Consistency is about doing it when it's boring, when it's hard, when you're doubting yourself, because those are the moments that sharpen you. That's where the edge is built. You know what happens when you keep showing up day in and day out? You start to separate yourself from the pack. You start to pull ahead. People may not notice right away, but over time they will. Because the results will speak so loudly, you won't have to. While everyone else is stuck in the cycle of starting and stopping, you're building something solid, something real. And here's the thing. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be consistent. You don't need to win every single day, but you need to keep showing up. Because the more you show up, the more you grow. The more you grow, the closer you get. It's a chain reaction, and it all starts with the choice to do the work, even when no one's watching. So if you want to work harder than everyone else, start by showing up every single day like it's game day. No excuses, no shortcuts, just that steady, unshakable grind that separates the committed from the curious. That's how you get ahead. One day, one choice, one rep at a time. Let me tell you something that'll change the way you see the game, because that's exactly what life is, a game. And the ones who win, they're not just talented, they're not just lucky, they outwork everybody, not just in public, not just when the cameras are on, but behind closed doors, when nobody's watching and there's no applause. That's where the game is really won. You see, everybody wants to be a beast until it's time to do what beasts do. It's easy to talk about how bad you want it, how hard you're willing to go. But talk is cheap. What really counts is what you're doing when no one is looking. When it's 5 in the morning and your alarm goes off. When your friends are out and you're in the lab, the gym, the studio, wherever your grind is, that's the difference maker right there. That's the hidden work, the grind that doesn't get likes, doesn't get claps, doesn't go on Instagram, but it shows up when it counts. People love to put on a show. Show the hustle, show the wins, but the truth is the real hustle is invisible. The real hustle is uncomfortable. It's you pushing through exhaustion. It's you going over the details again and again. It's you saying no to distractions and yes to your purpose. That kind of work doesn't make headlines, but it makes champions. And let me tell you from experience, it's lonely. That level of work, the kind that outpaces everyone else, it's not glamorous, it's not fun, but it's powerful. Because while everyone else is clocking out, telling themselves I've done enough for today, you're still in it. Still sharpening your edge. That extra hour you put in, that extra rep, that little bit of effort that nobody sees, that's what puts you miles ahead over time, not overnight, not instantly, but with patience and pain and repetition. We live in a world of shortcuts. Everybody's looking for hacks, cheat codes, secret formulas. But let me be real with you. There is no shortcut for hard work. None. You want to get to the top? You want to stand out? Then you need to do what others aren't willing to do. You need to put in the hours they skip. Make the sacrifices they avoid. Push through the resistance they surrender to. That's how you win. You win when they rest. You win when they doubt. You win when they stop, and you keep going. You don't need to announce it. You don't need to prove anything to anyone. Just keep showing up. Let your work speak louder than your words. Let your discipline drown out the noise. It's not about being seen, it's about being effective. The craziest part is, most people never realize how close they were. They give up 2 inches from the finish line. They slow down just as the breakthrough was coming. But not you, because you know what you're doing in the dark is going to shine in the light. You know that when it's time to perform, you won't have to pretend. You'll already be ready because you stayed ready. And when you live like that, when you commit to outworking everyone, even when there's no audience, you stop chasing success and it starts chasing you. One of the biggest lies people tell themselves is, I'll do enough to get by. But if you want to work harder than everyone else, if you want to stand out in a world where average is everywhere, then you've got to raise the bar for yourself. Nobody else is going to do that for you. Nobody's coming with a clipboard and a checklist, reminding you to give more, push further, dream bigger. That's on you. See, a lot of people set their standards based on the people around them. They look left, they look right, and they say, well, I'm doing a little more than him, or I'm not as bad off as her, and they think that's enough. Let me tell you right now, that's a trap. Comparing yourself to others is one of the fastest ways to sell short. You should never define your work ethic by the next person's laziness. If you really want to lead the pack, then your only competition is you. Every single day, you've got to ask yourself, can I do better than I did yesterday? That's where greatness starts. The standard you set becomes the standard you live by. If your standard is high, your results will rise to meet it. If your standard is average, then guess what? That's all you're ever going to get, average. And I don't believe anybody in this room was built for average. You weren't put here to settle. You were put here to push, to grow, to challenge what's possible, but it all starts with what you demand from yourself. Some days, nobody will clap for you. Nobody will say, good job. But that's okay, because you're not working for applause. You're working for excellence. You're working to build something that lasts. And that means holding yourself to a higher standard even when it feels like nobody else is watching or even cares. You care. That's what matters. When you have high standards, you don't wait for someone to hold you accountable. You hold yourself accountable. You don't wait for deadlines. You create your own. You don't aim for the bare minimum. You go above and beyond, not because someone told you to, but because that's just who you are. That's the difference between people who succeed once and people who stay successful. It's not luck. It's not just talent. It's how high they set their bar and how committed they are to reaching it every single time. And let's be real, it's not always easy. You're going to have moments when your body's tired and your mind's telling you to relax, to slow down, to take the easy route. But that's when you've got to remind yourself why you started. That's when you've got to lean into that standard you set. The one that says, I don't quit. I don't coast. I lead. I finish. I win. It's a mindset. And when you adopt that mindset, everything changes. Your focus changes. Your effort changes. Your results, they change. So if you want to be the one who outworks everyone else, stop looking for someone else to set the pace. Be your own pace setter. Be your own pace setter. Demand more from yourself. Expect more. Do more. Be the reason the room rises. Be the reason people take notice, not because you said you would, but because your work left no doubt. There's something you need to know right now. Obstacles aren't setbacks. They're the test. They're the proof of how bad you want it. Everybody hits walls. Everybody faces resistance. That's not unique. What's unique is how you respond when you hit that wall. Do you fold? Do you start pointing fingers and making excuses? Or do you dig in, grit your teeth, and find a way to climb over it, go around it, or push right through it? That's where resilience comes in. And if you're going to work harder than everyone else, you better believe resilience has to be part of your DNA. There's this idea floating around that success is supposed to be smooth, that if you're on the right path, everything will just fall into place. That's not real. That's a fantasy. The truth is, every step forward comes with resistance. You'll be doubted. You'll be misunderstood. You'll fail more than once, but failure isn't the end. It's information. It's feedback. It's a chance to grow. The only way failure becomes permanent is if you let it define you. And you don't have time for that. You're built for more than that. You've got to make a decision. Are you going to let pressure break you or shape you? Because the pressure will come. The weight will get heavy. And there will be days where you wonder if it's all worth it. But I'm telling you, it's in those moments, those ugly, silent, hard moments, that the real work happens. That's where you develop grit. That's where you start to separate yourself from the crowd. Not when everything's smooth, but when it's rough and you keep showing up anyway. And let me be clear, working harder than everyone else doesn't mean you don't struggle. It means you struggle better. You don't run from the pain. You don't shut down when things don't go your way. You face it. You adapt, you learn, and most importantly, you keep going. That's resilience. That's what makes you dangerous. Because when others would have given up, you're still standing, still pushing, still locked in. Most people quit way too early. The moment something doesn't go their way, they pull back. They lower their effort. They start entertaining backup plans. But not you. You lean into the hardship. You understand that discomfort is part of the price. The road to anything great is paved with discomfort. If it were easy, everybody would do it. But you're not everybody. Every time life pushes, you push back harder. Every time you get knocked down, you rise faster. That's what it means to outwork the competition. Not just in perfect conditions, but in chaos, in uncertainty, in pain. That's when your drive has to be louder than your doubt. That's when your purpose has to punch harder than your fear. The truth is, you don't build strength in comfort. You build it in adversity. You build it when you're tired, but you keep going. You build it when things fall apart and you find a way anyway. That's what working harder than everyone else really looks like. It's not just about physical effort. It's about emotional resilience. It's mental toughness. It's the refusal to quit when every part of you wants to stop. And once you've walked through fire and kept going, nothing can shake you. Not opinions, not failure, not fear. Because you know you've been through worse and came out stronger. Let's get one thing straight. If you want to work harder than everyone else, you have to get real comfortable with sacrifice. Not the kind you post about, not the kind that comes with applause. I'm talking about the kind of sacrifice that hurts, the kind that most people avoid. Because here's the truth. You can't have it all at once. You can't chase greatness and cling to comfort. Something's got to give. And the people who rise, the ones who actually separate themselves, they're the ones who are willing to let go of what's good to go after what's great. You're going to have to say no to things. Things that are fun, things that feel easy, things that most of your friends are saying yes to without a second thought. While they're chilling, you're grinding. While they're sleeping in, you're getting up before the sun. While they're watching another episode, you're getting your reps in. That's what this life demands. It demands decisions that don't always feel good in the moment, but pay off in ways most people never experience. Now, don't get it twisted. This isn't about burning yourself out or becoming some kind of robot. This is about aligning your actions with your ambition. It's about asking yourself what you want most and being honest about what it's going to cost. Because the truth is, most people aren't willing to pay that price. They like the idea of success, the fantasy of it. But the moment they realize it means long nights, hard choices, missed parties, and relentless focus, they back off. They compromise, but not you. You understand that sacrifice is part of the contract. And let me tell you, it's not just about time. Sometimes it's your ego you have to let go of. Sometimes it's comfort. Sometimes it's the people around you, the ones who don't see the vision, who keep pulling you back into old habits. That's not easy. That's not fun, but it's necessary. Growth always comes with a cost, and you have to decide if the dream is worth it. If it's not, that's fine. But if it is, if it really matters to you, then be ready to make space for it, even if that means letting go of what's holding you back. And don't expect anyone to understand it either. People are going to question your choices. They're going to say you're doing too much, that you're obsessed, that you need to relax. But obsession is what excellence looks like to people who have never chased anything with their whole heart. Don't shrink to make them comfortable. Don't slow down just because they're walking. Keep running. Keep grinding. Because while they're doubting, you're building something real. And when it shows up, when that dream becomes your reality, they'll call it luck. They'll call it talent. But you'll know it was sacrifice. There's beauty in the grind, even when it's lonely. Because every time you make a tough choice, every time you choose purpose over pleasure, you're building discipline. You're stacking wins. You're becoming someone who can't be shaken, someone who's earned every inch of their success. And that's a different kind of confidence. That's the kind that doesn't need validation. That's the kind that lasts. So yeah, working harder than everyone else isn't just about pushing. It's about giving things up. It's about choosing what matters most over what feels good right now. Let me tell you something people don't like to admit. There is no finish line. Not if you want to stay sharp. Not if you want to keep winning. See, a lot of folks get a taste of success and they start easing up. They get the promotion, they hit the goal, they buy the thing they were chasing, and suddenly the fire starts to fade. But if you want to work harder than everyone else, not just once, not just in one season, but always, you've got to stay hungry, no matter what level you reach. Success isn't the end. It's just the next beginning. You don't climb a mountain and then build a house at the top. You look around, catch your breath, and find the next peak. Because the moment you stop growing, you start slipping. And the scary part is, it doesn't happen all at once. It's slow, it's quiet, it shows up in the skipped workout, the late start, the "I'll do it tomorrow" attitude. It creeps in when you think you've done enough. But there is no enough for someone who wants to lead, for someone who wants to dominate. You don't coast, not if you're built for more. You've got to fall in love with the process, the work, the grind. Because that's where your edge lives, where your edge lives. That's where your greatness is refined. Don't chase the trophies, chase the effort, chase the habits, chase the small daily wins that most people overlook. Because if you keep those sharp, the results will come over and over again. You know what really separates the elite from everyone else? It's not talent, it's not resources, it's that burning desire to keep going even after they've already won. They reset the bar. They reframe the mission. They don't let yesterday's success become today's excuse to slow down. That's what you've got to do. Stay a student, stay humble, stay relentless. The ones who keep climbing aren't driven by fear, they're driven by purpose, by a hunger that doesn't fade just because things got comfortable. Comfort is a trap. It lulls you into thinking you've made it, but you haven't. You've only scratched the surface of what you're capable of. And let's be real, it takes discipline to stay hungry in a world that keeps handing out distractions, comfort food, comfort zones, comfort conversations. But none of that builds legacy. None of that sharpens your skills or your spirit. If anything, it dulls them. That's why you've got to keep reminding yourself what you're chasing. Not the title, not the applause, but the growth, the responsibility, the impact, the work. Every level comes with a new devil, a new challenge, a new lesson. That's why staying hungry isn't just a mindset. It's a lifestyle. You've got to wake up every day with something to prove, not to the world, but to yourself. That you're still in it, still hungry, still willing to do what most won't. So when others start easing up, you lean in. When they celebrate and settle, you lock in and level up. Because the moment you decide you've done enough, you've already started falling behind. That's not how you're wired. That's not who you are. You're not here to blend in. You're here to rise again and again, no matter how many times you've already won. Stay hungry. That's how you stay ahead. So here's what it comes down to. If you want to be great, if you truly want to rise above the noise, then you've got to work harder than everyone else. Not just once, not just when it's convenient, but consistently. You've got to earn it in silence, grind in the dark, raise your own standard, embrace the struggle, make the sacrifices, and stay hungry no matter how far you climb. This isn't just about talent. It's not about luck. It's about discipline. It's about fire. It's about deciding every single day to give more, be more, and do more than the person next to you, even if nobody ever sees it. You don't need permission. You don't need perfect conditions. What you need is a relentless work ethic, a clear vision, and a refusal to settle for less than what you're capable of. That's how you win. That's how you lead. That's how you build a life that's undeniable. So don't just talk about it. Don't just dream about it. Be about it. Outwork, outlast, outshine. That's the way forward. That's the way up.